love. Welcome back to another episode of Lessons from Behind My Chair. I'm your host, Angela B. Fuller, Master Hairstylist turned Certified Transformation Coach. Today, y'all, is First Sunday. And I get so excited about First Sunday because it gives me the opportunity to just talk about the goodness of God and how God's word is required first and foremost to help move our lives forward. God's word helps us to live life by using his living word to help us truly live a wonderful and beautiful life. It helps us to make sense of life. And when we can use God's living word to help us to make sense of our lives, then there's nothing that we can't do. So I'm so excited about First Sunday so that we can dive into our spirituality and what is sometimes needed or required to help us live this life in a beautiful way as it was intended. So, but before we dive in, you know I have a pop question, and the pop question always leads into the discussion of the episode. So my question to you is, do you believe? Now I know that question is simple. Of course I believe. The answer is always, of course I believe. But do you believe enough? You know, back in the day, the words to a song was, I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day, spread my wings and fly away. So yes, we can sing the tune that we believe, but when it comes to belief, it takes more than singing a tune. It takes faith to believe. And so my lesson for this episode comes from Matthew 17, verse 20 through 21. And it reads, "For I truly tell you, if you have the faith of the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will, and nothing will be impossible for you." I know that sounds really good. I know that sounds like, man, if I could just recite God's word the way it's read out of Matthew, the way it's written in Matthew, I could have it made in the shade. And yes, you can. But when I studied that word a little deeper, I found that the faith of a mustard seed is real small. It's real tiny. And so what I drew from that, what I pulled from that is, yes, even though it's only required a small amount of faith to get done what we need to get done, let's understand that that size of faith is the beginning. That mustard seed size of faith can move some mountains, can fix some areas of our lives, can position us to want to go back to school, can position us to want to develop our mindset, can position us to want to start that business. But it's going to take another level for us to actually get it done. You know, all God needs is a little bit from us, but he still requires that little bit. I can remember times in my life when I wanted to get things done. I wanted things, but I didn't want to do the work. I didn't want to put in the amount of work. I wanted to skim over the work, and I wanted this thing to grow and grow and grow without putting the same increment of faith and work behind it. Because each increment of moving certain mountains out of our way, I truly believe requires a different level of faith. Because when we're stepping out to do things that we have never done, we have a desire, we've prayed about it, we've heard from God, but because it is something that we haven't done, we have to ask ourselves, who do I need to become to move this mountain? The first step is recognizing that something is in your way. And the second step is to search your heart, read your word, pray, and ask God to show you what is going to be required of you to get this thing done. Think about it this way. There are some people that we know today, people that we spend time with, people that we go to church with, people that we live with, and people that we work with. There are mentors, there are counselors, okay? There are coaches that we consult with, we reach for, we ask questions. And the reason we can believe in the coach or believe in the mentor or believe in the coworker is because we have spent time with that person. We're comfortable with that person. We have gotten to know that person. That person have maybe directed us in a certain way or offered advice. And when we followed their instructions, we got what we wanted. So we develop a belief in that person. And so my question is to you, how do you get your faith level up? How do you get your belief level up when it comes to your relationship with God? You know, how do we prepare ourselves to believe that we shall have the desires of our heart that we're asking God for? In the beginning, for me, in the beginning, when I began to work on developing my faith and I wanted more of God, it came in the form of what God can do for me. My beginning faith, my mustard seed size faith looked more, it was everything about what God could do for me. Lord, how can you serve me? You know, Lord, how can you give me what I'm asking you for? How can I get you to do X, Y, and Z? And so as I matured in my faith walk, as I matured in my belief in God, what happened was my language changed. You know, my dialogue with God changed. Of course, there are things now I'm asking God for, but what I have noticed is now I'm asking God, Lord, how can I serve you? Am I walking in the path that you want me to walk? Are the desires of my heart your desires for me? And I had to smile about that because now what has happened is my mustard seed size faith has grown into the size of an orange seed. So now that I have grown, I realize the growth came from my belief in God. The growth came from me trusting God. The growth came from me bearing my soul opening my heart to God. So now I figured, okay, if this is what it's going to take, I think I can do that. I no longer see a problem in me getting what I want out of life, in me moving my life forward, in me serving individuals on a higher level, and in me being capable of doing things that I've never done before. Yes, there's still some apprehension, but guess what? I still do it because of my orange size seed faith in God. And I know that God gives us the desires of our hearts based on our desires lining up with His, but not just that, based on according to our faith. So because my faith has grown, guess what? What I desire comes even faster. What I desire is clearer to me. What I desire, I know for a fact that it shall be. And it's just a matter of me keep going. It's a matter of me trusting and knowing that God's word is all the faith and all the belief that I need. That His word is the evidence of the faith. Is the evidence of the thing that I say I want. I don't have to see it with my five senses. I don't have to see it. I don't have to touch it. I don't have to smell it. I don't have to feel it, not hear it. The size of my faith is simply on His word. And so the more I get into His word, the more I study His word, the more I cross-reference His word, the more I live His word, the more I marinate and meditate on God's word, guess what? It builds my faith. It deepens my faith, and it builds my belief. So if you're trying to increase your faith, just start where you are, but understand that different mountains, certain mountains requires a different level of faith. And as you build and develop your faith, God gives you the desires of your heart based upon your faith. Because it's a partnership. God ain't going to do it if you don't do your part. You have a part. We have a part to play in it. And when we play our part on a higher level, guess what? We can go to bed, we can wake up, we can pray, and then we can slay. All right? So I'm calling on all my slayers. You got to pray before you slay. You got to have faith before you see it. And you got to believe, and you've got it. All right? I hope you got something from this episode. I know I sure did. And if you did, I'm asking that you share it with someone who you believe is questioning their faith, who you believe is doubting themselves. And I promise you this message will bless them. Certainly it has blessed me, and I hope that it blesses you. Okay? I'll talk to you next Sunday on another episode of Lessons from Behind My Chair. Okay? Bye.